today we're in the home of Dr. Hasan Ashkanani. He is an anthropologist. He has a PhD in anthropology. He's an archaeologist, and he's a professor of anthropology at Kuwait University. Hi, thank you so much for having us today.
Hi, Christina. I am pleasure to having you all here.
Everything here is so interesting. I want you to tell us a little bit about how you got started in anthropology and archaeology and what kind of challenges you face.
Actually, I have started my anthropology through this museum.
Oh,
I used to collect, we called it like in anthropological term, cultural material.
Cultural material.
Material that I have to save Kuwait history through collecting antiques and material things. So this is my start. It was in 1993. And through my love, through my story and journey within, like, let's say 18 years, I choose anthropology because it is the most topic that fit within my hobby. So I remember, like, when I went to Kuwait University in 2000, my major was marketing.
Oh wow, so that was a business
thing.
degree.
But
Okay.
after 2 weeks, I changed it to history because I love antiques. So
And have you always, since you were a kid, been
Yes.
interested? Yeah.
yes. So then I decided, I tried to make my hobby more academic. So I selected, or I choose anthropology to obtain my master and PhD. So I can maybe benefit my hobby more than it is just general hobby. And yes, after I finish, I'm getting degree from the US after like 10 years journey. I came back now to Kuwait and I started to teach my students how they can understand Kuwait culture through collecting antiques.
Yeah, because this is a very important thing, because if we don't have people like you in countries, then, our heritage can be lost. So, and is it a very important, is it a popular profession to get into, or it's very few people actually get into anthropology? And
Actually,
archaeology?
anthropology, it is a term that we use it to study human culture.
Human culture.
And or
Past and present. Or,
past and present,
Okay.
and the history of human beings evolve, how he evolved, the revolution for human beings. So it was opened in 1998 by 3 professors, most of them doing cultural material and medical anthropology. And the department decided in 2004 to send Kuwaiti aboard to study archaeology because we want to understand the past of Kuwait history through the material culture.
So, have you gotten a lot of support from your community when you decided, to open this museum, or when you decided to go into the field?
Actually, I am so fortunate that my family and my friends and the whole community in Kuwait supported me since I was 12 years old, since 1993. I remember when I opened like new small corner in my home, like small wooden box and few documents, and the first piece was the ghutra scarf.
Okay.
So when everyone knows about my hobby, they knock the door and they gave me like tons of like records, radios,
That's wonderful.
clothing. So it's getting like bigger and bigger after I participated in exhibit in 2001. I used to I was 17 years old at that time, and it was the first exhibit after the Kuwait liberation, held by Kuwait National Museum. So I participated with the 5 big names in antique collection, but I used to be the youngest one there.
Oh, wow.
So it was also another turn point in my life.
So, speaking of the youngest person, now the younger generation, have they seen an interest in anthropology and archaeology? Have you seen that at Kuwait University? Or is it really something that needs, we need to get the word out and talk about it?
If I want, I can divide the whole things like into 2 different chronological period. For example, until 2000, before 2006, maybe there was a little bit interest in Kuwait heritage, Kuwait history.
Okay.
Maybe because there is no social media, maybe that's a reason, I am not sure. But I saw like very few young Kuwaitis who's interested in Kuwait heritage or in antique collection. So that makes me to establish, for example, the first Kuwait Heritage page on Facebook
Oh, cool.
in 2007, and also the first website on Kuwait archaeology and Kuwait heritage through cultural material. And then now I am getting much familiar with the young people, and I get like maybe almost every day emails and calls from those young people that they are they are interested to collect these antiques. We know much. We need to post some picture about this. Sometimes there is a big debate or argument or discussion on a historical story in Kuwait, for example. So that's the first stage. The second stage, I noticed in the past few months after I came back from the US, we have more than 30 young Kuwaitis who are interested in antique collectors. So, but we have to gather them, and we support them in a good way, in a professional way, instead of have like individual efforts.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's really cool that they're becoming more interested now.
Yes.
Are they focusing more on Kuwait heritage or any other areas?
Most of them on Kuwait heritage, actually on just antiques. Some collections, nobody interested in Kuwaiti archaeology. It is a new field, a new science in Kuwait, and that's my aim. This is my target. Is how I have to teach at Kuwait University, bring people to the field, make them more familiar, more interested by going, like having a trip every November to Faylaka Island, every March to Kadma, Subia. We have like more than 500 archaeological sites North Kuwait. So we do like this kind of a free trip to them, and sometimes, for example, last semester I involved them to work in my project, just to do like real scientific paper, use the lab, use the ceramics, and do kind of microscopic analysis.
Oh wow, that's really
Yes.
great. Very cool. Dr. Ashkanani, can you tell me a little bit about the types of items that you have collected here in your museum?
Actually, I have like more than 6,000 pieces.
Oh wow.
From different categories: kitchen, clothing, for example, manuscripts, documents, bedroom stuff. But first of all, I focused more on Kuwaiti things, and before that, I focused more on my family stuff.
Okay.
For example, I have we call it Sandug Mbayet, or housing box. It used to be the first cabinet or
That was at the wedding, right?
for the
Yeah.
wedding, and my great-grandfather gave it to my grandmother in 1928 for her wedding party as a gift. And I started with those things. For example, my great-grandmother marriage agreement, and I have, for example, this one here in 1928.
Oh wow.
And another stuff, for example, I have for my great-grandfather, we called it like the first ID in Kuwait in 1916 to enter the Asif Palace, the Sheikh of Kuwait, the Emir of Kuwait Palace in 1916.
So is this like a
Like
do you hang it or?
yeah, sometimes they hang it here.
Okay.
And we call it
Cool.
Hamala because he carried it here. So we call it Hamala, means he carried it.
So instead of a driver's license or a civil ID?
Yes, he
is
can.
what
We
you
started
carry.
with the iron or metal pieces, like that's 100 years ago. And then I focus more on Kuwaiti houses. I need the small, young generation like me to come to my museum and see the whole Kuwaiti house. This is my target. Actually, they can visit for free anytime. They can just email me via email or on Facebook. Hasan, I would like to come with my family. They are so welcome here,
that's
and
great.
they can come and I can explain as much as they want. So now I have like, then I switch a little to the Islamic history, for example, some manuscripts and some from World War I, World War II, but then I just withdraw. I have to stop because it is a very large field and I cannot spend money on everything.
Yeah, because I would think that you know, because it is so huge, the different things, you could just
Yeah.
go crazy and
Yes.
collect.
So then I just focus now on Kuwaiti houses. For example, I have this we called Namlate, the first soda in Kuwait, 1920s. We called it Namlate. It is Namlate. It is an Indian soda.
So
And
what's this?
this is before they discovered the cover here. So it used to have a marble here as a cover here. So when they want to drink the lemonade, they just push the marble, and it is stuck here, and he can drink it.
Oh wow.
So then they send this bottle to India to suck the marble again. But then Mohammed Hussein Ma'rafi, he brought this machine to Kuwait in 1930s to get the marble back again. And this is another example of one of the first national soda, Kuwaiti soda, with the two flags.
Kuwaiti soda.
So pre-independent red flags with the crown during Sheikh Abdullah al-Salim era, and we called Bushi Cola. So this is so
cool.
interesting and rare. Then I try to focus more on Kuwait, collecting some books and documents that tell us more about Kuwait history, because I have this belief. If we want to understand Kuwait, we have to go to those political books. We can only understand through political perspective, but we have many things we cannot know or understand if we couldn't collect those antiques. For example, we have no idea about the permission to enter a sea. Nobody mentioned that in the book.
Okay.
And for example,
No
about
documentation or anything like that.
because this is everywhere. The historians only documented Kuwait or any country from, like, let's say, political perspective, maybe a little socio-economic perspective, but through the cultural material, we will have like many information. We can go and have now a small tour. You can see, for example, even the bicycle in Kuwait in 1940s has a title, and we have a permission and driver license just for bicycle, not for a car. So that's it. Sorry, nobody, like, if I ask any Kuwaitis, maybe even older than me, he didn't hear about those kind of permission and titles for bicycle. And so this is, for example, I have here in 1969, Mr. Lusher, he's an American traveler, visited Kuwait for 2 nights, and he met the Emir of Kuwait, Sheikh Jabir al-Sabah, 1868.
1868.
He used to work for, I think, German emperor to bring horses from Oman and Baghdad. So through his journey, he stopped 2 nights in Kuwait, and he described the Emir of Kuwait, the Kuwaiti woman in that time. So this was printed in 18.
So this was his description.
His original description.
Oh, wow.
So
That's amazing.
Yes, and now I have like more pieces, for example, like watches, clocks, like 100 papers about Kuwait in 1980s. For example, one of very rarest copy of the news of Sheikh Mubarak's son wedding party in 1908.
Wow.
So many like emirs from different areas came to Kuwait in 1908 to attend the wedding party of the emir's son. So I have the whole news.
The newspaper clippings and the pictures.
Everything, yes.
Oh wow! So how do you get these things? How do you acquire them? Do people call you? Do you, is there? How
Yes,
does that work?
I started with the Friday market, which is we called it our stock market. So we go there every Friday and see what's there, and we get from there. Now everyone like try to collect antiques, so you cannot find money or much there in a Friday market. So then we go to any Kuwaiti houses, any familyhood, and we ask them, if you have any stuff, you don't like it, you want to throw it, just call me. And I have, for example, from Ailat Lari, Jamal, Slayli, and Naqib, they gave me their stuff. It was inherited, yes, the donations. And then sometimes I use, for example, international auction. I can find something related to Kuwait in London, in New York.
Really?
Sometimes in Egypt. Now I have, like, after this 25 years, I have like this kind of network in Yemen, in Dubai, India, Indonesia, whole North Africa, Europe, and the Midwest of USA, just to bring anything related to Kuwait.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. I mean, over 25 years it's taken you to get all these connections and.
Yeah, it is difficult, but we have to start like step by step. The most difficult is because we were not living with those elders. All of us, like we were young, we all like we were born after the independence of Kuwait. So it is difficult to know if it is old or not. I remember in 1993 when I got this one, I couldn't know it is old. I just saw this bottle and I just skip it.
So how do you often?
My dad told me just stop. This is Namlate. This is one of the oldest soda in Kuwait. So it is difficult. You have to read everything.
Yeah.
You have to meet every maybe elders to know more about what is inside Kuwait houses 100 years ago. So it takes a lot of effort. You have to read. You have to do interview. You have to visit. And even if you find something old or related to Kuwaiti house, maybe it is fake or replica.
Yeah, I was wondering
Like this
how
one.
easy it is to authenticate something.
So like this one, this is another thing. So I know, okay, this is the original one and I can pay 50 dinar for this one.
Okay.
But sometimes I can get this one, it is similar.
Yeah.
But it is new. So
No
this,
way.
so this
I
is,
would think this is just as old as
yeah.
that one.
So this is another thing, how you authenticate your stuff, your item. It takes a lot. So I encourage my friends, my generation, to contact any specialist, to contact any collectors about anything before you buy, before you pay any penny. You have to contact, you have to check about the year, the authentication, and about how it is important. Sometimes not everything old it is important.
Right.
You have to check what is important for your museum.
Well, thank you so much for having us and explaining. This is so interesting, all the really cool stuff, and I can't wait to take a look around.
You are so welcome.
Thank you so much.